So thank you all for joining us. We've got a pretty extensive list of attendees today. So really excited to share a little bit about AI and in particular how you can use it right now today to accelerate the growth of your business. So real quickly, I'm Eric Zaromsky, president, founder, actually CEO now of the VX Group. And developer of the Measured in Millions methodology, along with David Tisdale, who's going to introduce himself and pass it over to Eric.
All right. We are seeing some things from people that say that there is no audio. So that's interesting. We've got three people saying there's no audio.
Okay.
That's interesting. So everybody, turn your
yeah.
All good on audio, Beth is saying. So
are there other people that are hearing us okay?
Oh, yes. We're good.
Okay. Yep. All right. People are starting to hear us. Great. Okay. Now we can finally get started. As for those of you who didn't hear, today's webinar is going to be led by our CEO of VX Group, Eric Zaromsky, David Tisdale, president, and I'm a program owner here. My name is Eric LaRose. We'll be helping along the way if there's any issues. We're going to be going over an awful lot today. So if you have any questions in the upper right-hand corner, there's chat and Q&A spots. You can post questions there or comments throughout the entire webinar, and when it's a logical time for us to answer those, we will get to them, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we possibly can. I know, David, you have a poll that you're going to be throwing up there in a second.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that, we'll also pass it back to Eric Zaromsky, and he can tell you a little bit about AI and using it to accelerate business growth.
All right. Thanks, Eric. There's also little emojis down on the bottom on your screen. If you can give me a quick emoji that you're seeing the screen share, that would be awesome. I know that some of our team members are here and they love the emojis. So looks like screen share and audio are working now. So we're just going to jump in. As Eric said, we're covering a lot today. And a lot of it is going to be live demo. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But what we're going to cover today is just kind of a quick intro to AI in B2B business in particular. We're going to spend the vast majority of our time on show and tell with some real practical applications. And if time allows, a little bit of playtime on the end where you can ask some questions and see if we can stump the robots. What we're not going to do is I am not going to show you how to make a pink elephant standing on a taxi cab in a futuristic city. That's a lot of the buzz around and what people see about AI. Not necessarily the most practical application for B2B growth, but certainly capabilities that you can explore on your own and create your own pink elephant. I noticed that this elephant was standing rather than sitting. So as we all know, this technology is not perfect. And I will say that there's a high likelihood that stuff is going to break as we go through this today. This technology is being evolved at hyper speed, and there are times where it can be totally enlightening and other times where it can be frustrating, but it is certainly something that can be amazing from a business and productivity perspective. So just kind of talk a little bit about the way we're going to run this today. So really focusing on individual use of AI in business. So what you as individuals can do today to accelerate your work. There's a whole nother class of enterprise AI. We're not going to spend our time talking about that today. We're not going to talk about making GPTs. We're not going to try and teach you Python or give you the details of large language models. If you're really interested in those things, I suggest YouTube. Lots of content out there by lots of people. But that's not what we're going to focus on today. We want to talk about using AI with some really common tools and how you then intersect and interact with other tools in your arsenal. So the three things we're going to really share today that will be powering the demos are, OpenAI's GPT-4, a tool called Notion, which I use personally to really run my life. I haven't opened Microsoft Word in probably 9 months. And then a new tool from a company called Zapier, who's known for their technology integration product called Zapier Central. And what I find really intriguing about it is that they've created a really nice plugin for Chrome that allows you to integrate AI with your day-to-day work. And then we're going to spend all of our time on real-time demonstrations, which we're going to start here in a minute or two. So I want to take a moment and I'll pray to the demo gods because, like I said, there will be things that break, there will be things that don't work, there will be things that we go, well, that wasn't very exciting, but that's just the way it is with this technology today. David, Eric, anything to add to that?
I'll just add, obviously, that we're not the all-knowing resource on exactly the as you said, the technology behind it, because it's really moving underneath our feet. But as Eric will show, we're really starting to bake this into our day-to-day and treat it like we have a joke at VX Group. AI is my intern, so it really needs to be part of your day-to-day. In terms of the work that you do, and there's various applications of it, which obviously we're going to go through.
Yeah. So speaking of, David, you want to pop up our poll here?
Yep.
Just want to ask you real quick. How many people are using AI assistants and tools really every time you sit down to get work done? So if you have your Outlook open on one side of your screen, do you have an AI tool on the other? If you're working in Excel, do you have an AI tool on the other? Or are you just a casual explorer today? Because I think it is a real mindset shift.
It definitely is for some of us old hats. It's a more than a mindset shift. It's we really have to kind of accept it as reality.
Yep.
If you guys see on the top right, you should have a prompt for polls, and let me know if you don't, and I'll try to force the machine. Oh, there we go. Yep,
it's going. So, David, I don't know if you can figure out how to share the results. I haven't.
Yeah, right now it's about 55-45. 55 in terms of no, it's not baked into day-to-day. That lead is holding strong as the results are coming in. So just a little less than half of us are using it in terms of our day-to-day life here.
All right, so we'll go ahead and close that.
And Nick said he just started toying with it, but he's excited to make this part of his daily work life.
Cool. All right. So about 50-50 of kind of I use it every day, every minute of every day I've got it open, and others that are probably more occasional or sporadic users. So can anybody put in chat what this means?
Come on.
I'm going to use AI to figure it out, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So this is my acronym, and Eric informed me that there's similar acronyms out there, but to me it's "Are you effing kidding me?" Which is often my response in exploring the AI universe and the things that we can do with it. It really can be a very, if you have an appreciation for it, the things that you can see and do is amazing. And so I'm going to share a few RUFNKMs today. And I wanted to give you a preview of what we're going to do, because we're going to move a little quick because I've got a lot of examples to share. So you definitely ask questions along the way, but I wanted to put them into your brain before I started to demonstrate these things. So the first thing we're going to do is analyze credit card transactions. So I went to our Amex account and I downloaded all of our transactions since the start of 2024, which was 1,100 rows of data. We're going to upload that to ChatGPT, and then we're going to do some queries of that data. We're going to do a search for subscriptions. So, for example, see if we have any rogue, Netflix subscriptions that we're paying for that we shouldn't be. We're going to use it to predict a spend with a particular supplier, and then we're going to create and stylize a chart. So those are the things that we're going to do on that one. Number 2, we're going to write some Excel formulas. Well, I know a lot of people in our audience spend quite a bit of time working in Excel. So we're going to do 2 common things. One is splitting data, essentially first name and last name into 2 rows or 2 columns, so that you could potentially import it into a CRM or your ERP. And then we're going to do searching an array for a value, which I think is always the VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP that people have used in Excel, but you can never remember whether you should use H or V or whatnot. So we're going to do those 2 things. The third thing we're going to do is do some real-time interaction with the web. And, the ability for AI to do real-time interaction with the web is really a feature that has become possible in the last month or 2. And this is where some really, really powerful things happen. We're going to extract and enhance a list. We're going to use LinkedIn data to write a personalized sales email, and we're going to use a CRM page to write a customer service email. And then finally, playtime. I've got one little playtime demo that I can share as well, and that'll give us some time for general questions and answers. So with that, I'm just going to make a real quick plug for our Measured in Millions methodology. This is something that really has synthesized all of our team's experience over the last 20 plus years of working with B2B businesses to drive growth. Take a look at measuredinmillions.com. Some of you who are working with us already regularly will be hearing more about this as we roll it out publicly and start to integrate it into our process and our flow. So with that, we're going to jump into the demos. So again, things are going to go wrong here. Bear with me. I'm going to do a little bit of hopping back and forth between screens and copying and pasting, but you're going to see in a real world how all of this stuff really works. So one thing that I'm going to show you, or that you're going to see, is a tool called Notion. I'm not going to go through and explain what it is to you right now, but just know that I was able to create this page that organizes my jumping around today. And you're going to see some actual AI execution within Notion. We're also going to use ChatGPT, and then, as I mentioned, the Zapier Central AI interface. So the first thing we're going to work on is analyzing credit card transaction data. And so I'm going to give you the flow here. I've got a file called Activity XLSX that I've already downloaded on my computer. And I'm going to grab this little piece of information, just copy and paste it, because I'm going to use it in ChatGPT. So I've started a new chat here, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that activity file. And then I'm going to paste my little statement here, letting it know what this information is. So basically telling it that this is credit card transaction data and where the table headers are. And I also wanted to round its responses to the nearest dollar, because I don't really care about anything else than that. So it's going to go ahead and analyze that data. And one of the things in testing a lot of this, because I've been doing this repetitively, is that it's not going to give you the same responses all the time. It actually kind of thinks through these things differently. And people can get frustrated by that, but it's also kind of pitched as a feature, because this thing is always learning. So if you ask a question once and then you ask the question again, you're not going to get the same response. They pitch it as a feature. I find it frustrating sometimes because you're like, wait, I like that one, and then it's gone. It's just it's an interesting aspect to AI and starting to work with these tools. All right, so it's uploaded the data. It looks like it's pulling proper information. We got Beth charging her Amazon Prime here, so we'll have to look into that a little bit more closely for sure. Anyway, so I put together a set of queries here. So if I just copy and paste these, how much did we pay to Storyworks Coaching? And it's going to take a few seconds to analyze that, and this is just going to should give me a pretty quick sum of what we paid to them. So just a real-time query of the data. Then we get a little bit deeper into this. A common thing today is people paying for subscriptions. For those of you that are wondering, the ChatGPT version that I'm using is $20 a month. It's their plus version. That's what gives you access to DALL-E, which is the image processing. Beth says the bot is lying to us. We'll see how that plays out in further conversation. So I'm going to analyze this data and list all the recurring transactions that look like subscriptions. List who we paid, whose card it's charged to, the recurring payments with dates, amounts, and the totals for each payee. So this will probably take a couple of seconds to generate, but it should spit back a table of information for us that is the analysis of this.
I'm going to, as this is writing out, Eric, just broaden this out into just any data set, whether it's past customer lists, finding trends in your data and just asking very layman questions about dormant customers, et cetera. So obviously there's credit card transactions, but anything that is a data set in your business as it relates to customer information, recurring orders, et cetera, obviously can be applied to this. Right.
And so it's giving me this long list that I will now try and figure out how to break because it's giving me everything this time. But it does give us a list of transactions from this data set. Let's see if I just pause it. There we go. All right, so now it's done that work. I'm going to go and grab another prompt here and say, I'm going to skip this expense prediction one because I want to make sure that we get here and ask it to create a bar chart of our spend with Adobe, which is one of our subscriptions. Okay, so it gives us a bar chart with our spend by month. And this is actually an interactive chart. So we can go and scroll over it. It'll show us what our spend was at any particular time. We can say, well, I don't want to look at it by date. Can you update the chart to show the spend by month? So it's a lot of iteration back and forth. And so when it says if you need further analysis or additional details, it responds. Okay, so now it's taken the bar chart and categorized our monthly spend by month with Adobe. And then if I want to do, I want to know how much did I spend and can I get a little more detail? So I've got this one, which I'm going to drop in here. Please add whose card was charged, add amounts by card member to the bars, and make the amount bold. So now we're refining the result that we get to make it more in line with what we're looking for. All right. So here's the updated bar chart. There's charges to Adobe for both David, who's in blue, and Eric, who's in green. And now I'm like, well, blue and green are fine colors, but they're not my brand colors. So I want to colorize this chart. So I'm actually going to upload our Measured in Millions logo, and then I'm going to grab this prompt and ask it to extract the colors from the logo and use it to colorize my bar chart. So if I come here and again, I upload a file. Do I have it here? There we go. We'll upload that file and ask it to use this logo to colorize the bar chart and include the logo in the header. And this would be one of those awkward pauses where it takes a second for
Does it generate is it generating a single image that you pull down? I mean, is it?
It's generating, well, first off, it's generating this interactive bar chart. All right. So in here,
Got it.
we can actually see that.
Yep.
If we go to switch it to a static chart,
Yep.
now you see where I said split it up and put the values on it.
Yeah.
It colorized it with the red and blue or red and yellow. I could tell it to use the blue and green if I wanted to. Well, we can actually change the colors.
Love the placement of the logo. Really is a high class graphic designer for sure.
Yeah. And that shows up when you actually download it or expand it. Let's see. I'm going into uncharted territory, but if I download this and open it, looks like it forgot the logo this time. So not going to worry about that too much. But there was a time when I did it where it did put in the logo, but it crushed it in with the title, and I said regenerate it with 100 pixels of space between the logo and the title, and it took care of that just fine.
Cool.
So that's analyzing credit card data, creating bar charts. Anybody have quick questions, comments on that they want to throw into chat before we move on? I'll pause for 1 second.
I have one on that, but I'll let David, you go first.
Yeah, I was just going to summarize. So obviously we uploaded a data set. We asked it specific questions to analyze that data set, and we generated visualizations using the platform referencing that data set. So any questions around data analysis, feel free to post them in chat. Go ahead, Eric LaRose.
Okay. So this is, kind of an online safety kind of thing. Your thoughts on privacy issues by uploading your credit card information into a service that is available to absolutely everyone?
I think there's always risks. I think, it's not, I didn't upload my credit card number or, access to our accounts, usernames or passwords. Certainly wouldn't do that. But at the end of the day, it's looking at the data that you're sharing and determining what is their risk. And, really with any sharing, there's risk. It just becomes, how comfortable are you with accepting that risk?
Looks like Mike had the same question here.
Yeah. And so, you want to be careful with it for sure. In particular, I looked at this and said, does it really matter if somebody knows how much I spend with Adobe in 2024? Not really. These are, to the best of everyone's knowledge, segregated sandboxes. And, the minute that OpenAI or somebody gets into real, data access or privacy issues is going to be a huge blow to their company. So I do believe that they take these things seriously. It is probably a reason to if you are working with what you believe is sensitive information, either explore enterprise solutions because those will have additional levels of security around them. Or I would also say work with the big players like an OpenAI or someone like that, rather than kind of a fringe piece of software that accesses OpenAI, but you don't know what they're doing. I would probably lean towards the big players for your tool set if you're dealing with privacy type data.
Yeah, I would say the two biggest things that obviously we're not the end all be all professionals are on the security and privacy issues are obviously huge, and so are copyright laws. So the fact that you can say, write a blog article in the voice of Donald Miller, the inventor of StoryBrand, that's an interesting thing. So basically we're referencing the materials online for StoryBrand to write something in the voice of somebody else. So there's a lot of the creative professional community speaking to the copyright laws as well. I also saw 2 weeks ago, after Apple did their iOS release, or the iPhone 15 release, that Elon Musk said if they put AI on an OS level, nobody in his company will be allowed to have iPhones within facilities. So there's a lot of things in terms of how this is implemented in the licensing that you have, and then whether it's an operating system based prompt as well. So so big topic. Good questions, Mike. Thanks.
All right, so we're going to jump to Excel. I'm guessing that pretty much everyone here uses Excel at some point in time in their day-to-day work. This will also demonstrate, again, demo gods, because David got an alert that AI in Notion was down today. But just a little bit of a way that to demonstrate how I use AI within Notion is they have these AI blocks. So I can basically working within Notion, which is where I do a lot of my content development, writing, organization of information, manage my schedule, all of those types of things. I can generate AI results or output based on predefined queries. So one of the things I wanted to mention here was this idea of asking questions versus telling it what you want. I found in my exploration that if you ask questions, you get a better result than saying, create a XYZ for me. So if you preface it with how do I, or can I, or can you, you'll get typically a more verbose response, and oftentimes a more accurate and higher quality response. So real common one, how do I split a full name into first name and last name in Excel? Some last names might contain a space, and the full name's in cell A2. So if I hit generate here, I'm going to get an output that explains to me how to do this. And it gives me a notation on some of the spaces. And honestly, when I did this yesterday, it created a formula that would take into account the space. Today it's going, I can't really figure that out for you. So I could probably continue to prompt, but I won't. But if I just grab this formula and I hop over to my demo workbook here, to my split name page, and paste this into there, I get the first name there. What's that?
Do you really know Scarlett Johansson?
I know all of these people, Eric. I'm pretty connected.
We need to talk after the webinar then.
Well, I will say that I used AI to generate that list of names. And then if I come and grab this formula, and again, drop it into my last name field, and then grab those and just fill down, then my work is done. I can save that file. I can import those into my CRM that requires me to have first name, last name, etc. So that's one quick one. The other one that I did is I call a match finder. This is an often used tool where you've got a set of data and you're trying to find matching data. It typically falls into the evil HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP of us novice Excel formula writers. Now we can never remember whether to use HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP or exactly how to do it. So if I just come in here and hit generate on this, it's going to teach me that I can use if and match. Again, if I just grab this formula out of here and copy it and go to my match finder, and I know I want my result in this field. So if I hit, what happened? Grabbed a little extra thing there. What did you do? Added some my copy and paste. So it knows that this number here, 1135, is in this list, which it's right there. If I change this to 5,000, I get a not found. So it's looking at this array of 50 numbers. So again, writing something that would have taken me probably 15 minutes to go out to the web, refresh my memory on how to write a HLOOKUP or a VLOOKUP, created a formula in a matter of seconds that delivered exactly what I wanted. So really, really effective way to accelerate your work in Excel if you're not processing data with AI. So questions, comments on that while I fire my way up to the next one?
Are the features you're showing, do you know if they're all the paid version or some of these are available in the free version?
A lot of this stuff is available in the free version. Really what you're not getting without being paid is access to GPT-4o or significant amounts of access. You'll often time out or you'll say you've reached your quota for the day. And then the image generator, DALL-E, which is OpenAI's image generator, is only accessible through the paid version. And you have to be at the plus level, I believe, to do that. Like I said, I think that's $20 a month.
Mm-hmm.
What about the quality of information you get? Does that go up with the more you pay?
That doesn't really seem to change. I think, quality is going to equate to what level of access you have to. So you'll see up here, it's actually in ChatGPT, it should say up at the top, ChatGPT 4o. This is so you don't get access to these others. So like you see GPT 3.5, which I think is what you get for the free version, doesn't support file attachments. It also doesn't include image processing. And then Notion is actually it's integrated. Their tools are part of the paid version of Notion. So you're going to want to run that subscriptions list quite often when you're using all of these tools, because you're going to have some subscription bloat within your organization.
Yep.
Yeah, if there was just one package, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's turning into like the TV thing where you've got to have Netflix and HBO Max and everything else.
It's cable, but separate charges.
That's right.
Cable, but separate, right?
Yeah, and Copilot is the one that comes with Microsoft 365. So if any of the companies here attending our Microsoft shops, copilot.microsoft.com drops you right into, if you're logged into your Microsoft account, it'll drop you right into the free version of that. They are also rolling out a paid version of that. And it's good for rudimentary stuff, but for more complex stuff, it's not the best, at least the free version.
Right. All right. So next thing we're going to work on is demonstrating this kind of real-time interaction with the web and the ability to browse web pages. So what I'm going to take you to is a list of 146 Wisconsin-based manufacturing companies since we're here in Wisconsin. And I'm going to ask, using the Zapier integration with Chrome, I'm going to ask it to create a table from the content on the page. So if I go into this list of 146 companies, this page is really only giving me the first 25, which is fine because I want a small data set. This also gets into the privacy and value of data, because now I can come and grab this data for free. Now, granted, they're only showing me the first 25, but if you're in the data business, you got to keep in mind that what you're selling is potentially accessible without them executing a commercial transaction with you. So I'm going to pull up Zapier and open up a little BizDev bot that we've started to create. And I'm just going to ask it to make me a table from the content on this page that includes the company name, city, state, and the current owner. And then we'll see what we get. This will take a second. So Eric, David, a little tap dance would be great. Oh,
yeah.
Moved pretty fast. So you'll see that it's created this table. I'll see if I can expand it out a little bit. That's given me the company name, the city, the state, and the current owner where available. And then I'm like, well, geez, if I wanted to look at these companies, let's ask it to add. So I'll just ask it to add a link to the company website. And in a moment, I should have a table that then is instantly browsable if I'm saying researching companies as a salesperson, or if I'm in the acquisition business. I want to look at a list of companies that I might want to put on my list for acquisition. And you'll see that it's now added a column with a link to the websites of each of these companies. I'm not, I can hit it. You guys will have to, you can trust me on this one. Let's see, we'll just go. So there's, and you can see the kind of speed and velocity that we get at that point. Open.
And unlike humans, if it's too slow for you and you yell at it, it won't get offended.
That's right. So that's one kind of real world application of this newer capability to hit real-time data.
Right. We had a question on thoughts on the various kind of assortment of AI platforms like Google Bard, now called Gemini, and any other. Like this is an interesting application of one brand, Zapier, taking AI for a specific use case. And to me, that's really where, and what we're trying to show here today, the different brands of people creating these generative AI bots and platforms is one thing. So that's one question on any opinions on the array there. But to me, the use case and the practical application to your business, I mean, you can really start anywhere. I mean, Zoom, we're leveraging Zoom transcriptions to summarize meeting notes, right? And that's just integrated. But Eric, I don't know if you've done any, tinkering with, alternatives to ChatGPT, like with Gemini, or if you have any opinions there.
I haven't that much, to be honest, David. I know you've done quite a bit in Copilot. I've generally been exploring more platforms that integrate with those tools. And honestly, I don't use the direct interface to ChatGPT that much, although they have implemented a desktop version of ChatGPT for the Mac. I am not positive about the PC, actually. That just opens up a whole new world. And if we have time, I'll demonstrate a little bit of what you can do with that. But it starts to intersect with the physical world, which is crazy. I mean, I think, again, this is changing so fast. We're going to be subscribing to stuff. We're going to be trying it. We're going to be hopefully, dropping the things that don't work real well and starting to hone in. But it's wild, wild west. Let's be honest.
Right.
And it's a race to who can, add the most mind-blowing capability the fastest.
Hey, we did get one quick question that while you're still on this table here, can that be exported into another database via Excel, or does it just live there?
No, it can. It's a little bit clunky. They're working like the OpenAI desktop is working on and should be launching shortly the ability to direct download data to your machine. The export is a little clunky. Worst case, you copy and paste and paste it into Excel, but you can definitely do that. That'll get better and better as people are doing these things. All right, well, I'm going to keep moving because otherwise we're going to run out of time. Wanted to show how we can kind of use these tools to now integrate with, again, that kind of real-time data. So I'm going to ask the bot to review my LinkedIn profile and remember key information needed to create personal emails from me to prospective customers. So it's going to look at the data on this page and hopefully learn all of the important things about me so that it can use that information in subsequent messaging. And I taught it this a while back. I don't know if it remembered or not, but I'm going to do it again. but you'll see that this is all of the summary that it's pulling and now hopefully keeping in its world. And it also gives me a sample template. All right. Now, I would never advocate copy, paste, and send. There's a lot of editing what's that?
This is a first draft.
This is a first draft. It often requires a fair amount of editing. But for those of you that have stood there or sat there staring at a blinking cursor, it's an incredible head start. And from an efficiency perspective, pretty amazing. So now what I can do now that this little bot knows a little bit about me is I'm going to go grab another little statement here and hop back to where I'm going to hop here. And so I found somebody who graduated from the University of Wisconsin. I don't know Dave. Sorry, Dave. You're now part of our world. He's a vice president at Milwaukee Tool. If anybody does know him, I'd be excited to talk to him. But I'm going to come in here and say, not even mention Dave, but using the information you learned about me from my LinkedIn profile, write a personalized email to the person on this page to introduce them to me and the VX group. Include reference to the University of Wisconsin. Be sure to ask for a meeting. So let's see what we get here. I did forget it to write ask it to write a subject line, so I don't remember if it will do that for me or not. It does. I'd probably say write a concise email because I would never have these many words. But let's take a look. Connecting with a fellow Badger, let's discuss growth opportunities. Doesn't sound horrible so far. Hope this finds you well. My name, background, sales and marketing, shared a connection to University of Wisconsin. What we specialize in, impressed by his extensive experience in supply chain and analytics. I don't know what else to say here, but pretty crazy.
Yeah. And the Q&A thing just lit up. No.
So that's one example there. I know a lot of people have customer service as part of their business as well. So I'm just going to hop over to a contact in our CRM and say, write an email to the contact on this page, letting him know that the package we sent is delayed. The new delivery date is next Tuesday. Be sure to include the date.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a lot of built-in suspense as it writes this for you.
So it picked up the fact that this is Joe, writes me a subject line. Hope it finds you well. Want to inform you that it's encountered an unexpected delay. The new date is scheduled for July 2nd. Apologizes, appreciate understanding. Damn, this is close to copy and paste.
Are they all going to start with finding us well?
I'm not sure. Well, let's ask. Can you use, what would you call that, Eric? Different.
Introduction.
I think that's, whenever I get a response, especially when it's writing copy, is just then building on that and say, do that again, but with a different tone of voice, or do that again with a different different lead in, or specifically lead in with the weather in wherever Joe is based out of.
Right.
So things like that, where it's just maybe the first swag didn't hit the nail on the head, but I've heard a lot of the dialogue, and I have a 15-year-old son, obviously, over the next few years, wanting to start learning about what the workforce is going to be like. And I heard some quote the other day, it's not the AI, it's not the robots replacing us so much as the people that really know how to use the robots in effective ways will replace us. We have to really integrate that into our day to day, because it really it's the way to become more efficient and frankly clone yourself in a business sense.
Right. So this version includes a friendly reference to the weather in Charleston, just for you, David.
Could you just write? Can you just say to it, write 4 different versions of the above email? Does it do that? Does it just?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure it will. I won't grind it. We've got limited time, but yeah, that's the thing is, keep in mind that this is a chat, right? So you can get more information. You can, add things to charts. You can ask for different colors, all of those types of things. I think, all the buzz around writing prompts that's kind of, it's for AI developers and that type of stuff where you're going to be creating bots and whatnot. This is really about getting into this kind of chat mindset. And, I understand the reference of AI as our intern, but it's a pretty damn smart intern, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so that's a couple of examples there. So I've got one other that I wanted to show. It looks like time allows. Let me just see where I'm at here.
I will say I responded to Nick your question on the main brands and the engines of these large language models, et cetera. We don't have bold opinions on that, but whatever tool you use, whether it's we use Notion quite heavily. ClickUp is a platform we use in house. They're all integrating these things, and whatever you use it consistently. It learns about your business. It learns from whatever you've fed it in the past. So really, transactionally using it here and there is not going to add the value versus using this day to day, week over week, because it really learns as a human employee would about the business, the problems that you solve, and the value you bring to your customers.
Cool. So I'm going to do one more quick one. I would like to do this in the ChatGPT application, although I'm afraid that it would really mess up the webinar feed. But just to give you some perspective, so this morning I found 4 business cards that were sitting on my desk, and I'm going to upload this image. This worked great, and then it didn't work. So if not, I've got a summary of it, but it's more fun in real life. So I laid 4 business cards down on my desk. My guess is that it's not going to run here, but we'll try. So I'm just going to ask it if it can see this image. It was having trouble with the HEIC format. And I think it's the browser-based. This worked really well on the desktop application. So I'm not gonna bother with this, but I will show you a different example. So this morning I held up a business card to my webcam, and this was all within OpenAI's desktop application. It says take a picture. So I took a picture of this business card and asked it to extract the first name, last name, company name, phone numbers, and email addresses from this business card. And it grabbed everything, dropped it into a table. Worked perfectly. Also, when I uploaded 4 business cards and had it scan all 4 of them, I'm guessing if I took pictures of 100 business cards, it would probably choke once or twice, but it would get through them. It's really kind of amazing. So that was one other thing. I also noticed just another little research one. This is a question we get all the time. Everybody wants to do business with Kubota, but nobody knows what they do or where they do it. So where does Kubota manufacture in the U.S.? Gainesville, Georgia, Jefferson, Georgia. They have an engine manufacturing plant in Lincolnshire, Illinois. It also gives references to where it found that information. So again, this is light years better and different than it was 2 months ago because of the fact that these things are now accessing real-time data on the web. It also, for those of you that are in the marketing space, you really need to consider what's going to happen with Google, what is going to happen to web search, because frankly, you don't need to go to Kubota's website now to find out this information, nor do you have to go to Google in order to find sources for this information. So it does bring into question how Google is going to evolve Google search, and obviously paid advertising on Google search. So that's going to be that's something that's really gonna change, and we've got to stay on top of that. And it's going to have an impact on being able to reach people. It's going to have a huge impact on things like search engine optimization, because if that's not the way that people find you anymore, because they just get a written result or a spoken result, then SEO is really not a really strong tactic long term. Not saying you shouldn't be doing it. Not saying you shouldn't be doing it, but this stuff is rapidly changing.
Yeah, every SEO expert about 3 or 4 weeks ago went, I don't know, because all of a sudden it just changed. That addition to Google just killed what SEO was, and now it's the whole industry is trying to figure out what it will become.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not going to be. It's not, Google's not going to kill their main advertising stream. So they'll definitely want to sell you paid ads, regardless of the format they're presenting it. But definitely on the organic standpoint, you guys are spot on. It's
going to be definitely going to be a changing game, and they may not have a choice. So those are kind of the demos that I put together today. It leaves us about 8 minutes for questions, answers, show and tells. If anybody wants us to, query the AI bots and try something. I don't know what we've got in Q&A. I've been kind of lightly scanning chat there, David. But Eric, is there anything in there that we want to address?
Well, we've actually been really doing a great job of addressing it. Okay. For a fun one, just to get questions started, what's the chances of this thing becoming sentient?
Can't answer that, Eric. Did we touch on Eric LaRose being the #1 detractor that works at VX Group about using AI? You just want to touch on that and your paranoia?
I do use some of it. It's and I know that you guys joke about that a lot. I do see this as a useful tool. I also see this as a crutch, like every single helping thing to help us out there. It's going to allow more people to write.
Yeah.
But more people, I'm already seeing this in emails from people trying to work with us here. They are just using the first draft, and they are all wishing me well. They are all hoping my day is going well. Well seems to be implanted in there somehow. And it just it takes the humanity and the passion out of what we write. So once it does become sentient, which I joked about, I really feel like it might become better because it will actually feel things and love things. But until then, it's like it's a nice tool. I'm amazed at how fast it can come up with things, though. Like Eric, you were showing, just to pull the stuff off this LinkedIn page. That it, as a former writer, that's something that would take some time to do some research.
Right.
It also depends, though, on how well they've updated their information.
Correct. Yeah. Like I said, none of this is perfect. Again, not advocating copy and paste. But like I said, it for me personally, it gives me a great head start. And I think makes, what I do ultimately better. The process for really putting this webinar together was assisted by an AI tool that I put together within Notion to just help me plan a webinar. The agenda, taking information and turning it into a bulleted list or a CSV file so that I can upload an agenda to the tool that we're using. Those types of things. So a lot of capabilities to just make your life easier and either get more done or get out of the chair and get out there and mountain bike or go on vacation or whatever it may be, because it can really impact the time that it takes you to do the things that you need to do.
Yeah, we do have one question that came in from this may be a loaded question. I work sales for a small manufacturing company. Any suggestions to use AI to optimize how I engage with customers, track sales, and analyze trends?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a couple of things come to mind. On the tracking sales side, making sure that you've got a good CRM in place and one that is starting to integrate AI capabilities, which they all are. That's getting into the tracking sales and analyzing trends. You've got to, in order to track sales and analyze trends, you've got to have good, clean data. Mm-hmm. That can be a good Excel spreadsheet. That can be a basic CRM with a basic pipeline. But getting your data organized is probably job number one. As far as optimizing how you engage with customers, as we all know, there you go, Bertrand. I'll copy and paste that in a second. From a optimizing sales perspective, I think about just frequency. We know how hard it is to get on people's calendars, to get them to commit to a time, etc. Just using it to help you be more consistent and appropriately frequent in your communications, because we have to follow up with people 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 times to get them engaged, and that can be daunting otherwise. But let's see what. To Bertrand's comment, let's see what the AI says.
Drum roll, please, AI.
Hey, it mentions at least a few things that I talked about, and then it promotes Zapier, which is awesome.
Of course.
Let's see.
Oh yeah. At what point are they just gonna is Pepsi gonna take part of this over and just start going well, AI powered chatbots are great, especially when enjoying a Pepsi.
Right.
That's right.
That's what the free version is going to look like eventually. It's going to have highlighted text in it that takes you to product placements.
Yep.
So definitely big space around the AI chatbots, personalized email, customer feedback analysis, sales automation. That is Zapier, and I don't think this is an ad yet, but there's a ton that can be done with Zapier and other tools to integrate. I'd also take a look at Make if you're getting into to automation, CRM integration, sales performance, and then if all you have is Excel data, get it cleaned up, upload it, and start asking it questions. Is there seasonality to my business? Who are my top 10 customers? Just start asking it questions, and the information and insights you can get is pretty amazing.
Yep.
So, we've got 2 minutes left. I can hang on for a little bit if anybody else wants to hang on and has additional questions. But to wrap things up, thank you all for your time. I hope it was valuable. I hope that you don't copy and paste without review. I think we'll be doing things like this, on a more frequent basis, et cetera, to just keep people in the loop on this, because it's exciting. It's a little bit scary sometimes, but it's rapidly evolving.
Yeah, and we have recorded this webinar, so we'll be sending that out in some kind of a follow-up, so you can share it with your friends and tell them some of the great things that you can do to grow your business with AI.
Awesome. Thank you all.